This is Goku-san DBZ, and welcome back for a new game review. Now you'll have to forgive some line, I'm having issues right now for some reason, but with that said, this is a review or a re-review for the game Destrega, exclusive to the original PlayStation. Now this game was interesting for its time. This is the opening cinematic. Hopefully this doesn't mess up the lighting since I seem to be having issues with it. But this is the opening cinematic with music. Destrega was released in the late 90s. It was actually released pretty late into the original PlayStation's lifespan. Graphically, it's actually pretty good. I would put it probably on par with the Tekken, probably between Tekken 2 and Tekken 3. And how should I put it? This game was unique into itself. One, for actually being the first fighting game that I know of with an actual story mode. Story mode on average would take you between 2.5 to 3 hours to beat, and it was a full open environment where you can move around freely to play. So that is one thing that makes the game very distinctive. Now, one thing about the controls in the game, you use one button to do running and stuff. You also had a power gauge, which you had to have fully charged, which recharges relatively quickly. And everyone has special abilities. And they used special medallion, well, the ones who were not born with those abilities. And the main villain of the game, which controlled the power of darkness, of course, why not, villain, his name was Zauber, Lord Zauber. I will say, of course, like many games in the early days, the audio voice acting and stuff was very, very cheesy, to say the least. But that's to be expected from the 90s PS1 era. I will say, however, what really sets this game apart, one is the free, open 3D environment of how you can move around the stage, is what made this game very distinctive. It is unfortunate this game did not do great in sales. I believe when I checked, the game only sold somewhere around between 20 and 30,000 copies. Not as super great, and the thing is, I have 2 copies of this game. Recently got one completely in case. The other one I had was just the disc by itself. I bought years ago when Blockbuster closed. Destrega is so unique compared to any other fighting game from the late 90s. Besides the open environments where you can move around freely, sort of like games like Bushido Blade, except for the most part, you had energy blasts and stuff. And like I said, a 2.5 to 3 hour story mode, though the voice acting was not great, cheesy, plus it sounded like they did a lot of the voice recording in tin cans or something. I'm not sure. But the game definitely had a limited budget. You could tell they spent most of the money on the cinematic opening, and I think overall the actual gameplay, which to be fair, is actually pretty solid. The mechanics are really good. It's unfortunate that this game was lost in history, because, I mean, it was basically the first fighting game I can think of with actual in-game story mode. It is so unique and different from any other game of its time period. And I do apologize for the lighting issues I'm having. But with that said, this back here is Grad. He's the main hero or protagonist of the game storyline. He controls the element of fire in his special abilities. You have somebody who wields, of course, electric. Another which throws instead daggers or ninja stars and stuff. Zauber, which uses darkness. He has 2 followers, one that betrays him and controls the power of light, and turns out to be the real main boss of the story. You have one that controls the power of wind, one that controls the power of ice, a girl with a weird floating ball, a princess, and she tosses out the shape symbols on the buttons on your controller. I kid you not. That's her actual, what she does as a weapon. Now, you can do each of the three things from a distance, do different specific attacks. One is fast, one is slow but more powerful, then you have a medium. You can, if you press one of each button really quick in sync, you can do a special blast, which will take your full gauge. It doesn't take long to recharge. I mean, total, it takes your gauge maybe, what, 10 seconds to 15-second range to fully recharge, though, of course, you can also do normal standard attacks when you're up close to your opponent. That is one of the interesting things about the game. I will say, I just hope that this game eventually is recognized for its uniqueness. I mean, as you see, for instance, in the background here, it actually shows like the open stage, like a castle and everything. It is unfortunate this game was very much overlooked, and it still is. And this game deserves a lot more respect than it gets. But that's just a brief little synopsis review of the game. And I hope you enjoyed the music in the background. Of course, it's pretty much the main music, pretty much the same tracks, just different remixes for the most part. But I think the music is still pretty solid for the most part. I like it, and it fits the environment of the game. And if you're curious, you can look here on YouTube. There's like one or two people have uploaded like all the CG cutscenes and everything from the story mode. It's actually, I admit, occasionally I will do a full playthrough of the story mode. Even if the voice acting is very cheesy and not the greatest, still, I actually enjoy it for what it was. And it's a nostalgia trip for me, since I'm in this game from when I was a teenager. Definitely holds a special place for me as one of my favorite PS1 games. But with that said, this was my review of Destrega on a scale of course, rating system I use. I have teetered back and forth between a B and B plus for the game, because the voice acting and stuff not great. Though I will admit, at the end, I'm going to give it an A minus, because definitely hands down the music, as I said, is still really solid. The graphics are good for the time when it was done, and though the audio and story and stuff isn't necessarily great, the fact is, this game was very ambitious for its time, and I still really enjoy playing the game occasionally. You can get it digitally if you're interested on the PS3 as well as on the PlayStation Vita. I believe the game on average goes for like $7.99 or something at normal price. So it's pretty affordable. There's been, when I picked it up digitally, it was on sale for $4.99, so yeah. I have it digitally and two physical, so yeah. I love the game, honestly. If you get a chance, pick up a digital copy if you don't want to get a physical copy, since it's a lot cheaper. Plus, you can play it on either the Vita or the PS3. I believe you can also play it on PSP if I'm not mistaken. But with that said, I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel, and stay safe.